Hi, I'm Matt Barbette, and I've been set an Everesting challenge by Cycling Weekly. What is Everesting? If you don't know, well, it means you go up and down the same climb until you have climbed the height of Everest, 8,848 meters within one 24-hour space. So this is part of a series of videos we're doing for Cycling Weekly where we're looking at the Everesting challenge. The first one I've done already with my friend, former professional cyclist Janto Barker, giving me advice on how to do the thing. He's done it already. Coming up, of course, will be the main event when I'm on the mountain trying to Everest it. But in this one, we're going to talk about the bike, the tech I need, some of the nutrition, and some of the kit as well. So this is my bike. It's a Colnago C60 frame, which has since been usurped by the C64, but it's still a fantastic one to ride. I've had it for a couple of years, done something like 6,000 or 7,000 kilometers on it. It is Italian made, as you can tell by the flag there on the seat tube. It's a tubed and lugged construction, which is a very Colnago thing to do. It's not the lightest frame in the world in this size, which is 52 sloping, which equates to about a 55 or a 56 traditional. It's around about 1,100 grams. What does the frame feel like to ride? It's pretty stiff. I won't say it's the most comfortable one in the world, but the good thing about it is when you're going uphill, which I'm going to be doing a lot of, is the power transfer is straight into the wheels. It's because it's so stiff with this lugging setup here, you don't lose any power in the frame. It's perfectly balanced as well, really poised. So when I'm going down the climb as well, ready to start again, it's a very predictable descender, which is no bad thing when you're doing it over and over again. An Italian bike like this really needs an Italian group set. I had to put Campagnolo on it, and I've got the best one I could get actually. It's Super Record EPS, 11 speed. They've since brought out a 12-speed Super Record mechanical, but this is the previous iteration, 11 speed. I've got a compact on the front, 50-34, and on the back the cassette is 12-27. I'm hoping that's enough for the uphill, the 27 cog, just to spin it out. On a 6.5% gradient it should be fine, and I think 12 is plenty when I'm going back downhill. I'm not going to be spinning out going downhill trying to race to the bottom, so the setup is pretty much ideal for repeatedly climbing. The wheels on the Colnago are frankly some of the best you can get as well. They are lightweight Meilensteins made in Germany. They are probably the best carbon wheels on the market. Now these ones I've had for a few years now. They are rim brake. Lightweight have recently brought out some disc brake versions. You can also get a disc version of Colnago's C64 frame too. The thing is, what you gain in stopping power with a disc brake bike, you're getting a weight penalty with that. So these, with the rim brakes, are pretty light. Again, just like the frame, really, really stiff. Quite old school, these ones, in terms of how wide the rims are. Again, Lightweight have brought out a more recent version, which has a wider rim. And the tyres on there they're also Italian, actually. They're Veloflex tyres, open coursers, 25 mil wide, super soft, super sticky, so great for the descending. And a bit like a tub, actually. These are clinchers, but they ride a bit more like a tubular does. So they're pretty good in the corners and nice and comfortable going uphill as well. Like most keen cyclists, I've got more than one bike. In fact, I've got about 5, and on all of them I have the same pedals, which are speed plate. Why? Because they're so simple to use. They're double-sided, so if you're riding through London, as I often am, they're easy to clip into without having to flick them over with your toe. I also ride speed plates on the track when I'm racing. Same thing, easy to clip into without having to look. These are the stainless steel spindle ones. They're just slightly lighter than the normal alloy, but they're plenty stiff enough as well. On the other side of the crank set, on the non-drive side arm, I've got a Stages power meter as well, which links up to the Garmin 1030, and it gives me fairly reliable data as well. There are more expensive power meters on the market, This one is one of the more affordable ones, and it gives me just the kind of figures I need to know, which is, for this kind of effort, is just how I'm sitting. I'm not going to be doing my max power or anything like it. What I want to be doing is a very steady, doable power output that I can keep going all day long. As you can tell so far, I've been pretty careful about matching an Italian group set with an Italian frame, got European wheels there on the lightweights. This, I'm afraid to say, is an American Specialized saddle. Why? Because it's the most comfortable one I ride on. Now, I was a little bit anally retentive in pairing Italian saddles with the bike. I just didn't get on with them. And when it comes to saddles, you have to do what is right for your arse, right? So the Specialized S-Works power saddle, it's carbon rail, so it's pretty light, really short nose and very wide at the back because I've got pretty wide sit bones. It's super comfortable. The last thing I want to do when I'm in the saddle for 12, 14 hours a day is to be sitting on something that is really uncomfortable. This is the most comfortable one for the way I sit. This is the cockpit of the bike. I've got 3T bars and stem. The bars are carbon, called the Ergo Nova ones. They're sort of ergonomic. The stem is actually alloy because it's almost as light as the carbon ones they do, but it's a bit stiffer, I find, and actually it's less prone to getting damaged. I have cracked carbon stems before when crashing the bike. You can see that the brain of the Campag EPS just hangs under there. I've got 20 mils of spacers just underneath the stem. Normally I'd have it slammed to get really racy, but this is an uphill bike. This is one I want to be comfortable on, so I've just got the position slightly higher than I otherwise would. The bars are 42 centimeters wide, center to center, so quite nice and wide for my sort of chest, if you like. And as you can see on the front there, I've got the Garmin 1030, which is going to be monitoring my progress. And that's kind of the main bit of tech I'm going to be using for the Everesting. A new big screen, nice and visible in the daylight, can have loads of options on there. I like to have 9 fields in view. The speed at the top across the screen as well. I like to have as well the total ascent, pretty important when you're Everesting. I've got my power average for the past 3 seconds. Vertical speed average 30 seconds. Now, that just gives me an idea of how quickly I'm climbing up the mountain. If you think that Chris Froome, when he's racing up something like Von 2, can do an average vertical speed of around about 1,800 meters an hour, that gives you an idea of how quick some pros can go up a climb. I'm going to be aiming for a vertical speed of about 1,000 meters per hour. So when I've got to do nearly 9,000 meters, I'm going to be climbing, if I get it right, for roughly 9 hours. Descending a lot quicker, of course, so we're descending something like 2,500 meters down on average. The other screens I like to have on there, distance. I've got my heart rate just so I can keep an eye on how I'm feeling. Same with the power meter. I'm going to be sitting around about zone 2, nothing too major, more of an endurance zone, of course. Got the gradient on there as well, so you can see how steep the climb is getting. We're looking at a nice average of about 6%, but then you're going to get ramps of up to maybe 9, 10%. It's nice to know where they are. Temperature, it's going to be a sunny day, south of France, July, probably looking about 30 Celsius max. And the time of day, I need to know what time it is. I think when I'm chewing the bars, I'm not going to know whether it's lunchtime, tea time, or breakfast time. So just to be reminded there of how much progress I'm making with the time of the day is a pretty important thing. I haven't got it on the bike right now, but when I try to do the Everesting, I'm going to have a Garmin Verb on the front. It's their camera, and the great thing about it is it hooks up with the 1030, so anything I film can then have the numbers overlaid on it. So if I'm going downhill during the climbing effort, you'll be able to see how fast I'm going. If I'm going uphill, you'll be able to see what kind of power I'm putting out or where my heart rate is at, and that'll be overlaid on the video that the Verb films. It's pretty cool. The kit I'm going to be wearing for the attempt is from Le Col, and this is actually one of the jerseys from the brand new Wiggins range, which Sir Bradley Wiggins has helped design. This is my favourite colour, actually. I really quite like the what is it, kind of a magenta with the red arms there. I love the gold detail, which is embroidered on there, not stuck on. It's a size small, which is kind of flattering for a man of my advanced years, but the reason I like that is because the pockets are nice and snug at the back. The last thing you want is something flapping around when you're going up and down the climb. I'm not sure I'm going to have much in them because I'm going to have some support on the mountain, but I might be on my own on a few occasions, so I'll probably have a pump in the back there, a tube and some levers just in case I'm stranded. In terms of filling it though with nutrition and my phone, all that kind of thing, probably not. Going to keep the weight down to a minimum. The advice in the other video from Yanto was the last thing you want is any extraneous weight when you're going up and down all day long. What I'm going to eat, well, I've got some saurine malt loaf, which is pretty natural, should keep me going all day. But this stuff I've just been sent by Science in Sport. It is called Beta Fuel. The beauty of it is it enables the rider to take on something like 80 grams of carbohydrates in one go, which is around about double what was previously thought an athlete could absorb in an hour. How have they done that? Well, there's a lot of science involved in it. It's essentially having different kinds of sugars. Fructose is a big part of it, and it is recommended for use on efforts that are over 2.5 hours. I think 12 to 14 hours sort of fits the bill, and if it means Chris Froome could win the Giro on it, then hopefully I can complete the Everesting attempt using Beta Fuel and all the other stuff I've got. So that's all the kit. The Colnago weighs just a smidge under 6.8 kilograms all in. The UCI race limits, so I'm just about on it. So in some ways it's actually quite a genuine effort, not dissimilar to what the pros do. I actually have the physique of the pros. I weigh around about 78 kilos this time of year, and it doesn't matter what all the kit is like, it's these legs that have got to turn those wheels around. Do keep an eye out on Cycling Weekly for the main event, the main video, where I attempt to bring Everest to the Alps. The Garmin's saying 34 Celsius. Now, I don't care if you're a pro or an amateur like me. That's hard, whoever you are.